because I am with AllnDaKards, coming to do your this is why, right? The segment of why. And so the segment of why, family, is about those that have committed suicide, family. All right. Sorry, I had my head wrap laid over to the side because I took it off, and it's hot outside. Okay, it's hot. Okay, so I had to let the locks out today, family. So today is why, right? So why is a segment that I dedicate my energy to those that no longer have a voice, for those that decided to unalive themselves in reference of whatever it may have been, whether it was, you know, trauma or, you know, drama, or if it truly was a suicide, right? Now, if you're also having these type of thoughts or anything you may be going through at this time, I ask that you please, the number is below this box for the suicide hotline, okay? 1-800-SUICIDE, as well as 988-SUICIDE from any cell phone, all right? So please, please don't do it, right? You have much to live for. You are worthy, all right? All right, so we are praying for all of those that may be going through something today. And today, family, we're doing Don Cornelius. I know y'all remember Mr. Don Cornelius, Mr. Soul Train, right? Honey, he was Mr. Soul Train, okay? From all that I can remember, my family used to watch it, right? When I was growing up as a child, that was one of the main shows, right? As well as, I think it just about every artist wanted to be on there back in the day, family, okay? That was a big thing, a big show. He was on there for all that I can remember until it was like at the ending, and then the ending wasn't even really like Soul Train or so forth, so I don't know, you know? But I looked it up because I was looking up all the one, you know, finding different people to put on the list. As you can see, I've already done a bunch of them, but some of them are on Patreon, family. See, my Patreon get a lot of my stuff first. They get a lot of my, well, they get all my celebrity readings, and then the suicide ones I'm trickling out over here on YouTube, okay? So some I will go ahead and put on YouTube, but some will start out being on Patreon first. So today, Don Cornelius, right? And so I meditated over Mr. Cornelius, and I also pulled his birth chart, which I've seen a lot in his birth chart, family. Some of the ones that I have done already, like Shakir Stewart and Chris Lighty, and all of those ones that have been in the industry, and some of them haven't actually turned out to be like a straight suicide, right? His looks like a true suicide. Like he basically was just emotionally unstable at an old age, where he felt like he did not want to live alone. He did not want to be alone. All the sins that he had lived in, family, earthly sins, that Mr. Cornelius had lived in, amongst doing things, you know, not being able to be with his child's mother, or a mother of some sort, because mother kept coming up all the time when I was meditating over him. So I'm assuming it probably was his wife, because husband also came up. So I think he was like emotionally unstable without being a husband. I know he did get a divorce like a few years prior to him unaliving himself or committing suicide. So I think that was the trauma with him. To me, it looked like it was mental, some type of mental illness, in reference of him going through some type of mental breakdown, also in reference of money. I do feel he needed love, he needed healing, Mr. Cornelius. I feel like Mr. Cornelius had a lot going on in reference of maybe even his children. I'm not sure if he had children, but when I was meditating and looking at his chart, it showed a lot in reference of what he had endured, maybe even as a child. I don't know if he had his father in his life, or he was a father to his children of some sort, but there was something with that relationship, whether it was his relationship with his father or him being a father, that was rocky. in some shape, form, or fashion. He could have went through some, you know, child situations, right? And I do see that in his chart. It was like, you know, love lost, right? He felt that strong. He definitely, it was about his home life, family. Things shifted, and he felt that it shifted for the worse, okay? Is what I was seeing in his chart. Now, I'm going to allow him to speak through the cards, as we always do, through the words of truth, right? We ask Spirit to come in. That's why I always say with these readings, they are truly for them to tell their story, okay? It's not my story, it's from the ancestors. You have to take it up with them. And although we have to say everything here is allegedly, this is actual Spirit speaking through the divination of the cards, all right? Now, enough of what I meditated over, because I had to take notes on what I meditated over, family, to kind of look at his chart in depth and see exactly. I always do it with each one of my readings now with this segment, because this segment is specifically about those that are no longer here. It's been documented in reference of these ones that I'm doing on this segment, in reference of them doing suicide, all right? So, I'm definitely getting something that could also trace back also to some sins that he was in here on earth, and some stuff that could come back in reference of some type of deception and a sacrifice, or him being sacrificed. So I do want to put that out there, because I did see that too. But I do feel strong in reference of suicide, in reference of some type of home situation. Whether that was around him, like I said, being that husband, whether that was around him being that father, or whatever it was. I think it was something that really, really was traumatic for him, okay? But, you know, there's always duality to it all. So let's look in the cards, and let's ask Mr. Don Cornelius, Mr. Soul Train himself, why did he decide to leave this planet this way? All right, so let's go ahead and do, bring the ancestors in. I've already prayed and meditated over the deck, family, prior to coming on. And let me put a little Florida water on. Don, we ask that you come in now and you speak through the cards. Speak through the cards, Don. I just heard him say, I was over it. I was over it. I just wanted it to be over. Somebody else said that too. That's what came through. I was over it. I was over it. Okay. Mr. Cornelius, we ask that you come through at this time and speak through the cards. Mr. Cornelius, Mr. Don Cornelius, Mr. Soul Train. What is it that we need to know in reference of you telling your story on why you decided to leave this planet in the suicide, if that is what it truly was? Show us through the cards, Mr. Cornelius, what truly happened on that February 1st, 2012. Don Cornelius, come through. Don Cornelius, come through. Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius, come through. Show us through this cards. Yeah, all right. Promise. Don Cornelius made a promise to someone that he was not going to live his life feeling like he had to deal with the woes of the earthly things that he had to deal with, whether that was financial, whether that was a love situation that went wrong. he had a sense of depression and downness. He sombered. I don't know why I'm hearing that word, sombered. I don't even know if that's a word. But Mr. Cornelius, when he was alive, the nature of this situation, ancestors say, yes, this is confirmation. He's saying, yes, this is confirmed already. That he overindulged in alcohol. Mr. Cornelius really tried to drink his pain away. He was in pain. He wanted to escape everything that he was going through, what he was feeling. And he overindulged on this alcohol card, is overindulging. So he overindulged to escape, family. And he took that weapon and he shot himself. He did. He took himself away. He wanted to escape. So when he did it, he was under alcohol. He was very intoxicated. He promised himself that he was not going to continue to live like this. And so the ancestor said, yes, it is confirmed that he did shoot himself. Yes, he took himself out. Because he promised himself that he was going to escape. The nature of it was he wanted to escape. He wanted to escape. He wanted it to just be over. When he was alive, all he could do was just drink. And he overindulged in that. That was a part of the sins that he was doing here on earth. Clarity on the escape. What was it that you wanted to escape, Mr. Cornelius? What was it that you wanted to escape? What was the nature of that escape for you, Mr. Cornelius? What was the nature of the escape for you? Trust. He had a hard time in reference of, low vibrating people. He trusts low vibrating energy, low vibrating people, the frequency. His frequency was low. He was definitely vibing low because he was into the alcohol. You know what I'm saying? He let the alcohol take him over, but he also was low vibrating and dealt with low vibration of people that he trusted. And so he just wanted to escape. He no longer wanted to deal with trusting that things were going to get better, trusting that things was going to go his way, trusting that the Most High and his ancestors had him. He didn't want to. He wanted to escape. He wanted it to be over. I want it to be over. I no longer want to be here, is what he was saying. And so he trusts that if he did this, that he would definitely escape all the trauma, all the drama that he's went through, that he was going through, feeling alone, the depression. He was over it. Just as he said to me before I pulled any cards. And he escaped. But that was a low vibrating energy that he was feeling because he had overindulged. Alcohol. Why was you drinking so much alcohol? Why was you overindulging? Tell me through the cards. Was it depression? Was it love? Was it a broken heart? What was it? What was it, Mr. Cornelius? What was it? What was it, Mr. Cornelius? Yeah. Question. He questioned so much in his life. He had so many questions about how things went wrong. His finances, his love. It was like his life flashed in front of him and he's seen it all go down the drain in some sense. Legal drugs. He could have been taking legal drugs, pills. I feel like he may have felt that he, had to question, why did he get into the legal drugs, and why did he have to continue to have legal drugs and alcohol all the time? He may have felt like, maybe people were questioning him about his drug use. Maybe he was on some type of drugs, pills, and alcohol is what I'm hearing. Not I'm hearing legal drugs, like a prescription. He may have not even been able to deal with taking prescription drugs of some sort because he was drinking his alcohol and it didn't do anything for him and made him worse. He may have had some type of ailment. And that was the thing, you know, people were questioning him, "Why are you taking your medicine?" You know, maybe I'm hearing his children come to him and say, "Dad, are you taking your medicine? Are you doing what you're supposed to do, Dad?" And in the meantime, he wasn't. He was drinking. He was overindulging. He was doing what he wanted to do. This may have not even been the legal drugs or the pills that I'm hearing may have not even been something that was like bad. It was just that it was something for his health, but he wasn't even taking it. That's why it's questionable. You know what I'm saying? It's questionable to the family, to the friends. What happened? Why did he want to do this? This could have also been that he took pills on top of drinking that day, and they questioned why. The nature. Why was it, keep shuffling, why was it the nature of you doing this? Can you give us a little bit more, the backstory in reference of it, Don? Give us the backstory on what made you say, I can't take anymore. What was it? Because we see that you were doing the alcohol. You showed us, you told us that it truly was you, but what was the nature? Don, what was the nature? Blunt force trauma. He felt that. Can you give me one more in reference of that blunt force trauma? You felt trauma. You felt trauma. What was the blunt force trauma? What was forced on you? What did you feel like was forced on you? Analog. Yeah, this is old school too. Analog is old school. That's what we had before digital. So he's letting me know there was some type of force in him no longer being able to do things the old way. See? And if you think about it, analog was like records and, you know, stuff that he was used to doing and having. And the old way is what he knew. You know what I'm saying? It was like a blunt force of nature for him to pry away from that. He didn't want to live in the digital world. He didn't want to deal with all the new stuff that was going on. He wanted things to go back the way it was, but life goes on. And so do we. Why is the blunt force here in reference of the nature? What are you trying to tell us, Mr. Cornelius? Don. Ooh, okay, that energy was strong. Don. One card at a time in reference of clarifying that blunt force. Blunt force. What was forced on you in reference of the nature of this situation? The nature of this situation, Don. Mr. Cornelius. I'm going to call you Mr. Cornelius. What was the nature of this blunt force trauma that you received prior to you unaliving yourself, Mr. Cornelius? Signs. He got all the signs and the promise. Let me tell you something. He promised somebody, or somebody promised him something, and he was showing all the signs. You know what he said? He was showing all the signs that he trusts this situation or this person and that he was going to escape. He showed them before he left this world, family. He promised someone, if someone promised him something that he trusts, okay? So somebody may have, because this promise keeps coming up. So somebody didn't fulfill their promise that he trusted, that he put trust in. There was some promise that may have been broken. And there were signs of this type of trauma, because this is trauma. So there was some type of signs towards this trauma. And the signs is the nature of the situation. Give us a little bit more in reference of that, Don. Why is the signs and the trauma here? What signs? The trauma and the signs, and you know, why? Who did you trust, or what was going on in reference of someone you trusted? Something that went wrong. Somebody promised you something. Can you tell us what it is? what it is that they promised you. What was the signs? You were showing something or something came through. You showed someone something or someone showed you something. What was the signs? What was the trauma? What was the situation? Why was it such a blunt force trauma to you before you left? Tell your story, Don Cornelius. Tell your story, because we don't know. Tell your story. The loss. Yeah, he lost a lot. He could have felt bound down, like he was locked away, solitude, like he couldn't do things, get out, do what he wanted to do. He felt locked up, he felt caged, right? Solitude. He lost a lot, family. He may have lost a lot of money, lost a lot in not doing the show anymore. You know what I'm saying? Not being on TV anymore. He felt like he was lost as well. Not just lost in reference of loss, but lost. He felt like he was just lost. And it was signs that showed it. This was traumatic for him. This was a mental situation. See? Yeah. Because when you feel locked away, when you feel like solitude, like you can't get away or get out of a situation, or you feel locked down, bound, it's like traumatic to your mind. What is this escape and trust? What are you trying to tell us there, Don? What did you trust that you wanted to escape? What was it that you trusted that you wanted to escape, Mr. Cornelius? What is it that you trusted that you wanted to escape? Cutting something off, or somebody cut him off, his son. I told y'all I felt it was a father-child situation. If he has a son, if he had a son in his life, his son may have cut him off, or he may have had some type of traumatic situation between him and his child, or him as the son having a traumatic situation that played again over and over in his mind. This son cut him off. And he trusted this son, right? He trusted, it's the same energy. He loved this son, but he trusted this son that cut him off. The King of Swords. Conflict around this situation, around this trust. It was conflict with that he had with a child. For some type of situation, family, that he escaped. He wanted to escape. Now, what I felt, remember I told you guys before I even pulled any cards, when I meditated over him, it was something around some type, I hate to say this. He might have been molested, or there may have been some type of molestation around a son or a child, or around him as a child. Remember, this is about Mr. Don Cornelius. Everything here is allegedly. This is spirit speaking. There was someone that was cut off. Maybe he was cut off in reference of how his childhood was, and maybe this happened to him as a child that he never told anyone and took with him. This could have been traumatizing, family, because it was someone that he trusted, and somebody, he felt that he cut this off. He wanted to get this away from him. He may have even felt like it was time to cut things off, escape. He could have been the son, or there could have been this type of situation with his son. Can you give me one more card in reference of that escape and the trust and the surgery with the son? SON. Don, what were you trying to say about the trust and cutting off, cutting somebody off, cutting into or cutting off with trust, escape, and son? Don, what were you trying to tell me with that situation, Don? Protected, yeah. Promise. Here go promise again. And y'all see me just shuffle these cards. You see how many times promise done came out and protected? Yeah, he felt that he promised, or somebody promised him something that he trusted. Or maybe he felt that he had to protect his child, his son, and he promised him that he would, but he escaped the situation. Strong energy here around escaping a situation. confirmation. Remember, confirmation came out. He already confirmed this reading, family. This is confirmation. This is a yes, that yes, this is what's going on. This is what happened. Can you give me clarity on the alive, when you were alive? What were you thinking when you were alive? What were you thinking, Don, when you were alive, based off of you not being here anymore? What was you thinking, Don? Accident, error. You made an accident back at you. Somebody, it was an accident when he was alive for him to have something go on, family. Something in his life was an accident or error that he created. He had an accident, and somebody wanted to get back at him about this situation, or he wanted to get somebody back. This is what he was thinking about. It was some type of error when he was alive. An accident or error had happened, and there was some type of get back. Either he made the mistake or somebody made a mistake, and there was a get back. They wanted to get back at him, get back at you. But this is my return to sender card on the accident when he was alive. So what is that get back? What is that error? What did you do? Did you do it, or did somebody else do it, Don? Speak through the cards. Did you do the accident, or whatever this situation was that somebody wanted to return back to you, or you wanted to return it back to them? What is that? Because you're telling me about something when you were alive. So speak to us through the cards. Yes, I see a bird. That's him. Speak. Deviation. Somebody wanted to deviate away from this situation. And this was about earthly materials, clothes, cars, homes. Some type of accident that someone tried to deviate away from. He could have been deviating away from the situation, or somebody tried to deviate away from the situation and didn't want it to make it seem like it was an accident, or maybe he deviated from a situation that was an accident around some type of earthly possessions. This caused some type of trauma to him. This caused some type of loss. And it was some signs, because it's right beside the signs and the trauma. Look, the nature. It's beside the nature, which is some type of trauma that happened behind this loss. And there were signs of this situation. Something around some type of accident or error that he created when he was alive. And somebody tried to deviate from it. Tried to cover it up, maybe. Try to deviate from it. Deviation is like, not wanting to deal with it. It may have been he did it or had alcohol in the system, and it was investigated as well, because that's underneath of the accident. So maybe something happened that he did when he was under the influence, is what he's saying. When he was intoxicated, and it may have been investigated, or may have been investigated, or maybe that's something that was getting ready to happen. And maybe that's why he decided to take himself out, because he wanted to escape the situation. The King of Wands, it was something around some type of trust. Could have even been a business situation. But he wanted to cut it off and get out of it, and because he wanted to protect something. And so he decided to use his weapon, pow, pow. Wow. Give me the last cards that you would like to tell us in reference of anything around why or what happened the day. What were you in the mind of why you wanted to unalive yourself, as we've seen that you are telling us you actually did. And you gave us a couple of scenarios, right? It was a lot of trauma. I'm seeing a lot of mental instability, like I said. Being upset about some things, overindulging in alcohol and drugs of some sort. You may have took some type of pills, but tell us through the cards. I'm going to pull the last cards for you, because the ancestors, you already told me that, yes, this is confirmed, these different scenarios and situations that we see here, because it's definitely a yes with the weapon. So we know you did do this yourself, okay? But we just want to get the last messages in reference of what it was, in reference of what we need to know, okay? Tell us through the cards, Don. Mr. Cornelius, control. Don, come through. Yeah. Come through. Okay. Caretaker. Whoever was his caretaker at this time, whoever took care of him. See, I told you it was some things in reference of what he felt he no longer had control over. And that was his marriage, okay? Because he was once married at one time. I do feel like he's saying something around himself or a male that may have contributed to something that may have changed the way he controlled things. And then I have Illuminati. So I feel like he was in caretaker on the bottom of the deck. I'm gonna clarify this Illuminati. Don, what are you trying to tell us about this Illuminati? Remember I told you guys I felt that he was having some type of energy around instability because he felt love lost. He couldn't face the fact that he was gonna maybe be alone to death. And so with drinking and drugs and all the alcohol and things like that was in his system, he was traumatized. Now let's see what the Illuminati is here for. What are you trying to tell us about that? Clear that up for me. Give me clarity on that, Don Cornelius, on the Illuminati in reference of your death. Reunite. Missing. Something or a group, Illuminati, he reunited with. 9 of Cups, unification, peace, assured communication. Togetherness again. Reunite with the Illuminati is like him getting back. He didn't have a chance to get back with them. Maybe he used to be in that, and you know, that's a secret society. That's Hollywood. So it could be. And maybe he did feel like he was out of control of even not being in this anymore and not being in this, right? And so that may have caused him to not to do that pow, right? Because he felt like he wanted to be back within the groove of things. He wanted to be back in the group of people. He felt like something was missing. Clarity on the male. Is that you that you're referring to, or a male within this secret society? Maybe somebody who did something to you while you wasn't in that group of people any longer, or while you wasn't, probably after the show ended, that was the end of everything, huh? Male, Don. Yeah, wasn't speaking to him anymore. Yeah, faded relationship. This male was in the group that he used to be in, or some type of group of people he used to hang around. They made Illuminati is a secret society of maybe, you know, Black Hollywood of some sort. And it was a male that no longer spoke to him. He had a faded relationship. He was no longer in control. You know, he wanted to reunite with this. But look at the faded relationship is the same. Okay, look at this, family. The nonverbal, which means they no longer was speaking, or whoever he wasn't speaking to within this group of people that he wanted to reunite it with. See, the same color, the reunite and the nonverbal. So he couldn't reunite with these people because they didn't speak any longer. There's nothing they were saying to each other. And it has something to do with the male and the faded relationship. Okay? And plus some type of control over a marriage, or married, or being married. He had no control over these things any longer, is what he's saying. And that also contributed to why he felt like he wanted to leave this planet, because he was probably so used to being amongst these people and in the elites that once they cut off communication with him and didn't want to reunite with him, and then he didn't have control over being married anymore, he decided to get into this, overindulging in alcohol. And he definitely had some type of accident that happened. Don't know what that accident was when he was alive as well. Because remember, we seen the accident here with when he was alive, there was some type of error that he deviated from an accident. So he also had that here that was over his head, okay? So he had multiple things, family, but he definitely told us from the beginning that he wanted to escape all of it. That's the nature. He wanted to escape all of it. That's the nature. He told us in the first spread. And he told us how. And the ancestors and him said, yes, confirmed. Okay? So we had a definitely confirmation on him. You know, he came through and he told us, thank you, Mr. Cornelius. We send you back with all love and healing. We ask that you continue to rest in peace. Have some peace there and some healing and love. We send love and healing your way. We hope that your heart is filled with healing, 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 healing at this time. We send you back with love. Thank you for your messages. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Thank you. All right. So, family, that was definitely to the point. He gave us exactly what it was. Weapon and pow is on the weapon. He shot himself, you know, confirmed it and everything with us from the jump. You see how spirits speak. This is all allegedly though. But, you know, we have to say that for the platform. But you already seen what Mr. Don Cornelius gave us. Thank you, Mr. Cornelius. He definitely wanted to escape. It was mental instability. He couldn't take it. He showed signs though prior. He did. He really did. He showed signs, and he definitely told us that's the nature of it. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna wrap this up, family. I hope that you guys are liking this Y series in reference of those. I'm doing stars now, but I'm open to do anyone. So you guys send me if you want if you know somebody who has done that as well, suicide, or you know, and you want to know their story. Maybe they left without telling this story, like most of who we all are doing right now. Please, I will go ahead and pull cards in reference of them. I am using my energy as a voice for spirit, okay, that is no longer here, all right, based off of that. And if you are going through any suicidal thoughts right now, please check the link below. It's 8988 is from your phone to get some help, as well as 1-800-SUICIDE, and their website will be underneath this box. We love you guys. Please, please, it is a reason to have life, okay? I love you guys through the darkness to the light. Until the next time, it's all in these cards, family. It's all in these cards. Peace.
Gratitude for the sunshine. Gratitude for the moonlight. Every day feels like a new life.